At just 12 years old, Michael's life was forever changed. After a tragic car accident, he was declared clinically dead for several minutes. But what happened during that time would shake his understanding of life, death, and the future of humanity. Upon returning to life, Michael shared a message from Jesus, one that he had never expected to hear. What did Jesus reveal to him about the future, and why was it so urgent? Let's look into this powerful and eye-opening experience that will change how you view the world. It was a regular afternoon when Michael's life changed in an instant. The car accident occurred without warning. One moment, he was with his family, and the next, everything was in chaos. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but despite their best efforts, Michael was pronounced dead at the scene. His family was left heartbroken, trying to process the sudden and tragic loss of their young son. For several minutes, Michael's body lay still. There was no heartbeat, no signs of life. But in that moment, something inexplicable happened. Michael's consciousness left his body and entered a space that felt entirely different from anything he had known. He wasn't aware of where he was at first, just a sense of disconnection from his physical self. This was a moment of transition, one that would set the stage for the revelations to come. As Michael's consciousness drifted, he found himself in a place unlike anything he could describe. It wasn't a place of suffering or chaos, but it was not peaceful either. Instead, he felt a profound stillness, a feeling of being suspended between two worlds. The sense of isolation was overwhelming at first, but then, in the distance, Michael saw a figure approaching, a figure that exuded warmth and peace, yet also authority. This was not a figure he expected, nor one he could have prepared for. It was Jesus. Michael had heard about him in church, but nothing could prepare him for this personal encounter. Jesus spoke to him not with words, but with a deep, knowing presence. It was as though Michael could understand everything that was being conveyed without a single spoken sentence. Jesus gently guided Michael, helping him understand that his life on earth wasn't over yet. As Michael began to grasp the gravity of his encounter, Jesus revealed what awaited humanity in the coming years. He showed Michael glimpses of the future, a world where people were deeply divided, not just by politics or religion, but by their failure to understand and respect each other. There was an overwhelming sense of separation, with people more focused on their differences than on what they shared. Michael saw images of natural disasters, economic struggles, and societal unrest. But the most striking aspect was the deep spiritual emptiness he witnessed. People had turned away from the values that had once brought them together, and this loss of connection had severe consequences. Jesus shared that the most important message for humanity moving forward was to return to love, empathy, and understanding, qualities that had been neglected in the face of modern challenges. As the visions of the future faded, Jesus spoke directly to Michael about the role humanity played in its own fate. "Your world is at a crossroads," Jesus said. "The choices you make now will determine the future. If humanity does not change its course, the consequences will be severe." Michael felt a deep urgency in his words. This was not a distant warning, but a call to action. Jesus emphasized that while the challenges facing humanity were immense, there was still hope. If people could come together and focus on kindness, forgiveness, and compassion, they could change the course of history. The power of collective action, fueled by love and empathy, could heal divisions and help the world avoid the worst of what Michael had seen. But this required a radical shift in how people viewed each other and the world around them. As Michael's near-death experience continued, Jesus shared a message of hope. "You are not alone," he said. "The door to redemption is always open, but you must be willing to walk through it." Despite the grave predictions, Jesus reminded Michael that there was always the possibility of change. if people chose to change their hearts and minds. This message was not one of doom, but one of opportunity. Michael understood that the future was not set in stone. Human beings still had the ability to shape their destiny through their actions and choices. The future was not hopeless, but it required effort and a willingness to grow. Jesus assured Michael that the ultimate victory was in finding peace, both with oneself and with others. After Jesus spoke, Michael realized that the key to changing the world was not necessarily in grand actions, but in small, everyday decisions. The way individuals treated each other, the way they chose to live their lives, and the way they nurtured relationships were the foundations of the change Jesus was calling for. It was the personal responsibility of each person that would create the collective change necessary to prevent the dire future Michael had seen. Michael was left with the understanding that no one was too small to make a difference. The simple acts of kindness, understanding, and empathy could ripple out and create waves of change. Each person's effort, no matter how small, mattered. In the end, humanity's future was not determined by any single individual or event, but by the collective choices of everyone. Despite the heavy nature of the warnings, Michael was also shown moments of hope. He saw people coming together, healing, and creating positive change. In these moments, the world seemed to glow with possibility. Acts of kindness, society support, and love shining through even in the darkest of times. Michael understood that the future was not all dark. It was still filled with light, but it would take conscious effort from each person to bring that light forward. The message was clear. Change was possible, but it had to start within the hearts of individuals. People needed to choose love over hate, understanding over division, and compassion over indifference. This was the path that would lead humanity away from the frightening future Michael had witnessed, and toward a world filled with unity and peace. As Michael's experience came to an end, he was gently pulled back from the other realm. The warmth and peace he had felt from his encounter with Jesus began to fade, replaced by the cold reality of his physical body. He could hear the frantic voices of paramedics who had managed to revive him against all odds. He was alive, but the message he had received was too important to ignore. When he opened his eyes, Michael was overwhelmed with emotion. He had been given a second chance at life, but more importantly, he had been entrusted with a message that could change the course of humanity. Despite the gravity of the situation, he knew that his mission was clear. He had to share what he had learned, what Jesus had shown him, not just for his own sake, but for the sake of the world. Upon returning to his family, Michael struggled to find the right words to explain what had happened. He knew that no one would fully understand the gravity of his experience, but that didn't stop him from trying. As time passed, Michael began to speak more openly about his encounter with Jesus, sharing the message of love, responsibility, and hope that he had been given. His journey wasn't easy, but he remained steadfast in his belief that the future could be shaped by the choices each individual made. He began living his life with more purpose, trying to spread kindness and compassion wherever he went. Though his experience had shaken him to his core, it also fueled him to make a difference in whatever way he could. Michael's story is one of hope, responsibility, and change. The terrifying glimpses of the future he witnessed serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of how we live today. We may not have control over every event that happens, but we can control our actions and choices. The message from Jesus is clear. Love, empathy, and unity can change the world. Will humanity heed the call? Only time will tell. But Michael's message will continue to inspire those who are willing to listen. If you found this story powerful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. The future is in our hands.